Helps if I turn the mic on. Good afternoon and welcome to Road Gateway Rotary Club. All right. Yeah, Donna, would you like to come up and lead us in the pledge, please? Thank you. And I think you have an inspiration.
One of Rotary's greatest treasures is past Rotary International President Cliff Dockerman, and unfortunately, Cliff left us last year. But fortunately, he left us with many of his speeches and articles in his book, As I Was Saying. The following is an excerpt from that book, which I think is topical. It's quoted: "Shortly after I was selected president of Rotary International, a newspaper reporter from New York called me. He said, I understand that the Rotary International is an organization which works for peace, goodwill, and international understanding. I said, yes, peace and understanding is one of our missions. He then said, well, what do you intend to do about the situation in the Middle East? I replied that Rotary does not have the weapons of war, tanks, rockets, planes, and battleships. Rotary uses the instruments of peace, food, water, medicines, education, shelters, and those basic things which improve the quality of life. You see, there is more to peace than mere cessation of hostilities. That is, seeking a peace which is measured by the quality of life in which people live." And I would like to add a couple more of his little quotes here too. I think is also very topical. "A world half starving and half overfed will never be a world at peace. A world half sick and half healthy will never be a world at peace. A world half illiterate and half educated will never be a world at peace. A world which condones drug abuse, senseless violence, and unpunished crime will never be a world at peace. A world of prejudice, intolerance, and distrust will never be a world at peace."
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, looking around the room, I know we have a couple of visiting Rotarians. So I see Diane Hoover from the Grants Pass Rotary Club. Welcome to Diane. And we also have Sue Densmore, who is the Grants Pass Rotarian and our speaker for this evening or this afternoon. I'm looking around. I think that's all of our visiting Rotarians. How about guests? Zara, did we have any guests? Zara's going to come up and introduce our guest since she was our greeter today.
We have Clive Galloway, Jerry Lamas, and Victoria Kay. Welcome. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Most of you know my husband. He's with me a lot here, which I'm grateful for. And my dear friend, Clive Calloway, he and his wife moved here about 2 years ago. He's a retired nuclear physicist. Yeah, he's really smart. He's married to Nancy, who is absolutely gorgeous. Met her at a Rotary function, which was the Women's Crisis Support Sale. But Nancy's one of the lead people at Barnstormers, and they're doing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and she's gorgeous and funny, really funny. But if you want to know anything about nuclear stuff, you have to talk to Clive. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm super happy to introduce Victoria Kay. Victoria, stand, wave. Do you remember last week my guest was Jason Kay, who is the other half of this couple. And Victoria is an up-and-coming realtor. She was my first work-study student at RCC, super smart. And I'm trying to recruit both of them to join us. And so They have a 5-year-old one or the other will be here, or perhaps the 5-year-old as well. So please welcome Victoria.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody, we're definitely a family-friendly club, so bring your kids with you. Okay. We have a couple of membership updates to make. So I think this is our first or second posting for I'm looking for Bev to make sure I get this name right. Susan, right? Susan Bondison. I got it. Susan Bondison. So this is our first or second posting for her. First posting, I think, officially. And we also have a perhaps record-breaking, although at the very least, a very fast move up from red badge to blue badge, and that's for Zara. Zara Dar, come on up. Come up and get your blue badge. How many weeks have you been in our club? This is one of the fastest in memory for sure. She has gone through the checklist, been to a board meeting, she's participated in a service project, she's been doing greeter, she's gone to another Rotary Club meeting. We're very excited to have you here, and I'd like to give you your blue badge. All right. Announcements. If you want to come up to the front of the room, I know Diane has an announcement, Bev has an announcement, Kirk has an announcement. So just, oh, Claudia and Greg. So come on up and line up for the mic.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here to tell you guys more about this event. I extended the deadline to RSVP because we really want people to come out and make it a fun, all Rotary event, kind of like what we had at Wildlife Images. So the date is Friday, June 23rd from 6 till about 8:30-ish. American Contraband is a 4-piece 70s band made up of local artists, one of whom owns the landscaping company on New Hope Road. And food boxes and adult beverages will be available. Partake is our vendor for the adult beverages. And we like supporting local. So it's $40 a person, and everything that we raise over paying the band and the facility use fee at RCC goes straight to the RCC Foundation to help pay for the Rogue Bowl renovation to make it ADA compliant. So please come out. Don't get wrapped around the axle on deadlines. We just want to have everyone out there. The reason why I'm here today is if I could get a commitment from enough people, I need to give a number to the vendors so they can plan accordingly and everyone can have a great time. Thank you for your attention.
Good day. Just glad to be back from Australia, where we attended the International Rotary Convention. And Gina Marie, I have a couple items for you. I was able to exchange a few banners. This is from District 3030 in India. And this is from a local Rotary Club in Victoria. Oh, sorry, state of Victoria. So anyway, with a little pin there, yeah. Okay. And as they say in the Fiji Islands, Bula.
Doug's sick. I'm wearing it because Doug's sick, not me, but just in case. And he doesn't have COVID according to the test this morning. Anyway, Porch Fest. We have most volunteers for the morning is very full, but if anybody wants to stay later, it goes until 3:30, and we'd love to have people stay later. And save the date for the end of the month social. It will be the 29th, and it will be at Patty Hansen's house. And she was on the garden tour, and she has it in-ground trampoline and a pool, and so it will be a lot of fun. Okay, thanks.
And speaking of the Rogue Bowl, I just wanted to key on to what Diane said. The following day, so the all Rotary event is the 23rd in the evening. Then the following day, there's a Revive the Roll Community Festival that's free. It starts at 2 p.m. and goes till 8 p.m. And there's going to be a lot of bands who play here locally in the community. There's also going to be performances by Barnstormers and another theater group whose name escapes me at the moment. And there's going to be a kids zone, and there's going to be food trucks, and there will be tours of the Rogue Bowl with some posters of the past for those of you who had children or acquaintances who used to perform up on that stage. You'll remember how fun it was to be out in the bowl. Or a child, did you perform? You performed there. So, some great nostalgia to talk about and some photos to look at. And then also the plans for the ADA revival of the bowl, because there's going to be 3 phases. The first phase is to just get us into and out of the bowl again, because it's been a real struggle for people who have any sort of physical challenges. The second phase will be to get the stage and the sound system up and working really well. And the third phase is going to be for tiered seating. And so it's, there are huge plans, and we want to share that information with everybody. So free event, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Drop in, drop back out again. Free bands, food trucks, lots of fun. And it's not necessarily at that time a fundraising event, but bricks and stars will be available.
Thank you, Claudia.
The 24th, so the day after.
Yes. Right, which is a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you an alliterative mnemonic device. Who knows what that means? Caver. Yeah. The words will all begin with the same letter. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to spell out something, but it'll help you remember that blue bags are big bucks. Blue bags, big bucks. Jan Jones, the treasurer of the RG Rotary Foundation, our club's foundation, just made the pre-Porch Fest withdrawal last week to see how much we could add from our blue bag returnable bottles and cans for the year into the amount of money that we're going to glean from Porch Fest to support youth programs in our club and in the community. And the total was $1,710. Bags are in the back, bags are in the toy box on my front porch, and I can make sure you get a full supply and fill them up.
Thank you, Greg. And I do remember performing at the Rogue Bowl as a child. I was in one of the kids theater camp programs in the summer, and we did Free to Be You and Me. It was so much fun. Okay, I think we are ready for first I'm going to check in on Zoom and be sure. Do we have any announcements from anybody on Zoom? I don't think we do. I'll give everybody a chance.
Yes. Hi. Let me get let's get this back up here. Start video. Okay. Oh, it's not working. Oh, there it is. Hi, I came in a little bit late, and so I'm not sure if it was mentioned already that Midge Renton's memorial service will be Sunday, June 25th at the RCC auditorium at noon.
All right. Thank you, Kate. So it sounds like if you just stay at RCC from the 23rd through the 25th. Yes. Okay. So then I would like to ask Judy to come up and introduce our speaker for this afternoon.
Thank you, Gina Marie, President Gina Marie. I'm really happy to introduce Sue Densmore today. We were trying to figure out earlier how we knew each other, and it just seems like we've always known each other. And I do want to mention one quick anecdote. You know, at the beginning of the pandemic, when you need to get a mask, and I wear hearing aids and I lip read, and I was just a wreck. And I put it all APB out on Facebook, and Sue custom made me some face masks and mailed them to me. That's the kind of person she is. Anyways, thank you, Sue, for that. Sue Densmore is a native Oregonian, born and raised in Lakeview, where she and her sisters still own their family century ranch. She spent her childhood riding horses and showing animals at the fair. She has a bachelor's degree from Oregon State, and her career has taken her from teaching art and journalism at Crescent Valley High School in Corvallis to being general manager of road disposal and recycling in Medford. For the past 20 years, she's been a community development consultant in her own business, Sue Densmore Communication Strategies. In this capacity, she's worked with the Umpqua Land Exchange, AMR, Rural Metro. She served as a lobbyist and an adjunct faculty member at SOU, and the Oregon Caves, just to name a few. You see her lettering and graphic design in Grants Pass on the Heart Insurance and People's Bank logos. Sue is the vice chair of the OSU 4-H Foundation, a board member of the Grants Pass Rotary Club, and a senior fellow and former board member of the American Leadership Forum. She was a founding member of the Medford Urban Renewal Agency and the Rogue Valley Transportation District. Today, Sue's going to talk about her work as executive director of the Friends of the Oregon Caves. And I heard her give a talk about this a few years ago at the Medford Rotary Club where I was, and it was just so fun because the Oregon Caves was one of my favorite places when I was a little girl. And I remember thinking I wanted to be married there because there was a creek running through the chateau. And now I don't want to be married at all. And I think that well, let's just end it with that. Sue, come on up.
Oh my, Judy is always a hard act to follow, let me just say. Oh gosh. Oh, all right. Well, let's see. Let me get organized up here. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Some of you, I think one thing that I didn't put in the introduction is I've worked in Gold Hill with Michael. He reminded me today, we caused a lot of trouble in Gold Hill, didn't we? We put the library in and the tennis courts, and it was a wonderful group. And that led me, actually, it was from Gold Hill that the community of Cave Junction said, we got this little problem out here. We want some economic development, some new ideas. And as that was in 2005, and I came out to Cave Junction. I got them a grant immediately for it's the Illinois Valley Community Development Organization, and I got them an unrestricted grant for $100,000. You'd think I could have walked on water. I mean, really, it was like, whoa, what else can you do for us? Closer to the mic. It was like, what else can you do for us? Well, then I was kind of stuck, and we said, well, what are we going to do up here in Cave Junction to, you know, like we did in Gold Hill, all those things you did over there. So we created the Friends in 2005 when Senator Wyden said to me, if you want the federal government, and particularly the Park Service, to continue to put money into the Oregon Caves, you know, it's remote, it was losing visitorship at the time, you're going to need to bring the citizens along. You're going to need to bring Oregonians along and citizens, or else we don't know what's going to happen. So that was in 2005. And so we created the Friends, great idea. And I said, well, like Gold Hill, I'm going to, you know, we'll do this, I'll be gone. Well, here we are, 2023. How did that work out? So it's been a pleasure to work in Cave Junction. And our decision at that point was that to bring the economic health back really to Cave Junction was that we did need to restore the Oregon Cave Chateau. It's an 89-year-old lodge. The monument is 113 years old. And I'll tell you some fun things about it. I don't know if we've got it. Can you start the slides there? Okay. I have to get close to this mic. I see what you mean. I can hear it now when I'm close to the mic, so you can hear me. And as he's putting the slides up, I guess one thing I just want to say about the Oregon Caves, as we work up there, it just has a special magic. And I think Josephine County and the state of Oregon are just glad, we're just glad we have it. You can go to Disneyland, you can go to Crater Lake, you can go to Timberline, but there's just some funky, fun, unusual magic about the Oregon Caves. And we want to always maintain that, because I think that's what people come back year after year. The grandchildren come back and say, my grandfather brought me here when I was 3, and then I was 10, and then I was 15. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, first of all, I have a gift, and usually what I do is I ask questions of the whole team, but I'm finding that people don't know the answers. So I can't really give the test so I do have a gift. I haven't decided how I'm going to give the gift away. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then are you going to forward the slides is that how it works? I just do like this. Okay. So the first question is, who discovered the cave? What year were the caves discovered and by who? Does anybody know the answer? This is good trivia when your grandchildren come to visit this summer. Yes.
I'm close. It's late 1800s and it's Elijah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Trivia. Elijah Davidson, 1874. And they are referred to as the Marble Halls of Oregon. Okay, there you go. They're referred to as the Marble Halls of Oregon. Second question. What product was a result of a chance meeting of William Gruber and Harold Graves at the Oregon Caves? Again, magic, think magic, magic. The Viewmaster. Okay, go to the next. You can just keep going to, yeah, okay. The Viewmaster was created there in 1938, and it was shared for the first time at the 1939 New York World's Fair. And 75% of the families in the United States had Viewmasters. We have created, and this is the prize today. In 2016, we made a commemorative Viewmaster, which has black and white photographs and it has the story of the Viewmaster. It is now owned by Mattel, and my attorney daughter says to be very careful. I have to say now it is the 3D viewer, not the Viewmaster. She doesn't want to, try to bail me out of jail. And but we made it with some of the original artists, the photographers, and it's great fun. And we do sell them on our website. I put some information on your table about if there's a business card and a website, you can go if you want to buy one. What I like about it is my grandchild loves it because there's no passwords or anything. It's old fashioned, and my son-in-law works at Facebook and just can't understand why, if you've got Facebook, why anyway. So anyway, we love the Viewmaster, and we do have a commemorative plaque. If you go take a tour down by the restaurant, there's a plaque now that says we are the official birthplace of the Viewmaster. We can officially say that. So that's pretty exciting. Okay, next one. Okay. Let's see. Did the Oregon cavemen drive dignitaries over the Golden Gate Bridge when it opened? Yes. Okay. Joan Mompson, if you know her at the Historical Society, her father was a Greyhound bus driver. And the cavemen in their outfits drove the bus. They drove the dignitaries over the Golden Gate Bridge. I just think that's a great story. And of course, Joan will tell you more about it if you talk to her. She was a cave queen. And in this picture, you see Dibbs Potts, who of course we all loved. He was the mayor of Grants Pass. He was also state senator, and he was the big honcho of the cavemen. And they used to, if you're new to the area, they were something to be seen. They went all over the United States. Their favorite thing to do was to end up on a TV show where like maybe a president was talking or something, and they'd come in the back and they'd pop up in the back of the thing. So that, they were just funny. Their fur eventually got them in a little trouble, when fur was kind of like not maybe the right thing to be dressed in. Okay. What president was inducted into the caveman? Anybody know? President Kennedy became a caveman. And rumor has it you had to drink blood and eat raw meat. Now, I'd really doubt it, I know, it's lunch. Yeah, so anyway, okay, the next one. Does the dining room of the chateau, I think you can go to the next slide. Let's see.
No, there you go. Okay, go, stop there. Okay. Does the dining room of the chateau have a water body running through it? Yes. Yes, okay, it does, and it will have in restoration. We are upgrading it's got a pump behind it, but don't tell anybody, it doesn't just really run, every day, all day long. It has to be pumped. But in the cave itself, we have the river Styx, Styx, I think is how you say it. Senator Ron Wyden is so proud that it's the only underground wild and scenic river in the United States. Is in Josephine. Now, isn't this good trivia? You're going to go home. You're going to know this stuff. And so he doesn't want anybody else to get one because we have the only underground wild and scenic river. Okay. Now this is just kind of a timeline. I'm just going to step over here to show you that again, Elijah Davidson. You can see that in 1909, President Howard Taft is who designated the Oregon Caves as a national monument. A president can designate a monument through the Antiquities Act that was only 3 years old at that time. 1906, they passed the Antiquities Act. It is in discussion now. Some of the congressmen don't want the president to have that kind of power, but as you can remember, President Obama did the bridge in Selma. I mean, there's been some important things now that have become monuments with a presidential ability to do that. A park is approved by the Congress. And of course, as you know, that would take a much longer process. There are good reasons to be a park. There are only about 44, I think, parks, and there are 440 properties in the Park Service. So the Oregon Caves National Monument is referred to as a park, even though it's a monument. And really on here, it's just kind of fun to see that we were created before the Park Service. The Park Service didn't come into existence until 1916. So we were on Forest Service land. And in 2017, finally, after 75 years, I don't know, the Forest Service finally gave up some of the acreage around the monument. So now we're 4,417 acres, which includes a campground and a ski area and many more trails. It should have probably been 4,000 acres in the beginning, but the Forest Service and the Park Service couldn't agree. There you go. And again, we talked about the Friends were created in 2007. So you can go to the next slide. Okay. Oh, let's go back. I think there was the one back. There you go. Okay. What kind of furniture is in the Oregon Caves? Anybody know that? Okay. It's called Monterey furniture. It's the same thing that Diane Keaton has in her home. And it was designed for movie stars coming west in the 30s. We have the largest collection, and we will always probably have the largest public collection. Every room was filled with it. You can see here, this is my office down on the right-hand side. We've talked about touring my office, but it is highly decorative. It's painted. And if you go to Deer Creek Winery right now, they just ordered 65 pieces of new Monterey, which is what we are going to be doing. We're working with the person that's restored Diane Keaton's collection. And what Ramon does is he makes pieces that are missing. He restores pieces. He's able to take a bed, which we're going to have to do, and make it upgraded and fit the new mattresses, fits all the handicap accessible needs. So we're working with Ramon, who works with Diane Keaton, and it's called Monterey. It's fun to know that. We have had donated about 150 pieces. Some of the general managers just didn't care for Monterey furniture, so that was sold at garage sales and given away and all kinds of things until about 1997. Our current board chair's wife, they came to stay at the lodge and they had their own collection, and they were just shocked to see that there was somebody standing outside in the parking lot painting something standing on a piece of Monterey furniture. She like screamed at the guy, and he had no idea that it was valuable. But so we have 240 original pieces. We have 150 pieces have been donated, and our goal is to be the only lodge in the Park Service with this original furniture in each room. And that's pretty rare. If you go to Crater Lake, you know, the lobby's gorgeous, but the rooms are pretty plain. And so we're very excited about that. Okay, next one. Okay. So this is kind of fun. This is I'm going to see if I've got my thing here. Okay. This was in 1919.
if you were going to go to the Oregon Caves, if you chose to do that, you would take a stage from Grants Pass at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you would get to Williams about 1 in the afternoon. And then you could, for a slight charge, about $2 a person, you might be able to camp at W.C. Fixley's house. And if he had 10 people, he'd give you a meal for 35 cents a piece, 50 cents for a bed. And then the next day you could take the rest of the trip to get up to the monument. And so this is just an article out of the Grants Pass Courier from 1919 talking about people trying to visit the caves. And it says there were no accommodations at the caves, no meals, no lodging. And there was one guide, Mr. Rowley, and you couldn't pay him anything because he was a Forest Service employee, and he would give you a tour. I think once a day they gave a tour. And there's many more fun stories, but I just think that that's kind of fun. Okay, next. Okay, this is kind of shows you know, what life was like when somebody decided that the Oregon Caves ought to be protected and cared for. I mean, just think of how it would have been to travel that way, all that distance. If you've gone up that curvy road now, you know what the road's like. It hasn't changed any. So this is kind of how we started. So how many of you have how many of you toured the caves? Oh, I'm so impressed. How many of you stayed at the lodge? Not quite as many, because you live here locally. You don't have to stay at the lodge. I get it. Okay, how many of you might have been carried away by the Oregon cavemen in a parade when they had their little rickety thing that went along? How many of you were grabbed by the cavemen? Anybody in here? Okay, well, my grandfather and Deb Spots were friends. They were both born in Paisley, Oregon, and they were friends till the end. And I'll just tell you a quick Deb's story. My grandfather passed away, and at that point, you could only talk to Deb's by a fax. Send him a fax, and it said, you know, memorial service for Grandpa John, Tuesday, something like that. This is when he was working at the lottery, and he drove his Olds 98, 100 miles an hour, I swear, to Paisley, came to the service, turned around, said, I got to get back, go to the lottery commission, turned around and went home. We said, Deb's, you can stay for dinner. Anyway, I always loved Deb's, and it's funny that now that here I am with the caveman deal. Okay, right now we're collecting photographs. Our goal when the chateau opens would be to have down the hallways the history, as we've collected all these black and white photographs. And on your table, there's a little piece of paper like this. It's a little poster on one side. On the other side, it gives you the chance, if you either want to take it home or do it while you're here today, your ideas. Many of you have family, you might have photographs, you might have history, you might have Monterey furniture. I don't know what you've got, but if you would like to, leave me a note, or you can send it to me. My address is on the bottom. My email is on it. There are many ways that you can get this to me if you have ideas or thoughts of how, because that's how we are collecting the history, is just by family, by one at a time. We're getting all the news of what was going on up there. Let's see, got the article, the road. Okay, now you can go to the net. Okay, there you go. In 1922, the road came in. It has not become less curvy. Don't we wish? Now, if you're taking a cave tour this summer, and you can look on your tables also, there's a little brochure that has information about the tours. We are pleased to say that this year is the first year since 2019 that we have a full contingency of tour guides. We have YCC students. We have, I mean, it is moving up there this year. We are so glad. We've had COVID issues. We have had trouble finding students that wanted to come this far away from home with all the travel circumstances. So if you look in the first page, if you have one in front of you, just so you can know, every day, 7 days a week, 10 to 4, you can take a cave tour. And now you can get your, used to be you had to drive up there, or you had to drive all the way up there to see if you could take a tour. Now you go to recreation.gov, and I hope it's on here. And you can reserve your tours ahead of time. And you can say, well, on July 4th, I've got tickets, kids, let's go, which is much better, we think. The only other thing regarding the road is that we are going to be doing road construction this summer. ODOT chose, of course, this summer to improve the road. And so you need to allow an extra probably half hour. They haven't started yet. So if you go soon enough, you won't have to wait for that. But be prepared that it is a good hour from Cave Junction up to the monument, and I would allow extra time this year. There isn't any food up there now. You have to take lunch, take water, take, hats, sunscreen, all those things. Then we also are going to have, did he put it on here? I don't think he did. We're going to have the off-trail tours again. We will have the candlelight tours again. All those things that we haven't been able to have for the last couple of years. If any of you are interested in those or taken, oh, here they are. Okay. Candlelight tours start on June 24th. The kids and family tour, that's a little different tour than we used to have. It's a little bit, if you've got grandchildren that are younger, it's kind of slower and really sweet for them. The off-trail tour, have any of you ever taken the off-trail tour? Oh, you're chickens. Oh my God. Oh, okay. The off-trail tour, they give you a headlamp and a helmet and a outfit, and you slide around on lots of places that you couldn't walk. So I don't know if I could do it. I never have done it. It's in areas that you can't go on the normal tour. So you go. It takes you 3 hours, $45 a person, and you must be 15 years old to go. All right. Well, anyway. Okay, let's go back to the slides now. The next slide. So originally, before the chateau was built, we had the chalet, and they served meals in the chalet, and you could, and the restrooms and meals in the chalet. And this was all developed by a local group, the Oregon Caves Company, and Sam Baker, who was president of US Bank, and 7 other people, which include the Harriman family from Rocky Point, the owners of Golden Rule, and the Voorhees family, all put together the Oregon Caves Company and built the chalet, and then they went on to build the chateau. The chalet was 1 story. You can see it in the background before they built the chateau. And once they built the chateau, they needed more rooms. Jim DeCourcy tells the story that he worked up there in 1974 to 1938 to 1974. There were 60 people that ran the whole place. 30, let's see, am I going to say this right? 60, 40 women, 20 men, I think is how it was. And so young men like Jim DeCourcy and others thought this is a summer job to have. Now, you couldn't have the summer job if you lived in Grants Pass. You had to have it, you had to come from someplace else because they wanted to keep you up there, not let you get out, and you worked, night and day. Now, Jim got to work because at the end of the season, they always needed extra people. So lots of people would go up and work at the end of the season. So there's a guide dormitory for the men, and the women, they built an extra story. They stayed up in the top of this lodge. And there's a little path that goes back and forth between the 2 buildings. And they swear they come back in there's several groups there in those years. There were, let's see, there's 14 people, 7 marriages in a period of about 5 years. And they always say, none of us got pregnant, but boy, did we have fun. I mean, they had light shows in the caves. They had, there's a story that kind of, we haven't gotten to the bottom of where, it's the 60s, this bus came through from San Francisco full of something. Well, they got them in at the night. They didn't tell the managers, and they all just had this party all night in the caves with this bus full of hippies. I'm going to say that's not the right word to use, but from San Francisco, they never had so much fun, but there's not much record of how that went. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so at this point, before the lodge was built, they had tents, and then they went to cabins. And some of you may own the cabins. The cabins started to slide down the mountain, and you could go up and you could take them for free, I think, for a period of time. And let's see, I guess that's it. 20,000 people used to come by horseback before the road was built. You can imagine. Connie Palmer, who is Sam Baker's daughter, first time she went to the cave, she went on horseback. She was 3 over with her dad, and at 20, she was married in the chateau in candlelight. And some of the stories she told was in the beginning, the women would ride horseback with a dress on, long dresses, and they rented overalls to them, and they made more money on the overall rental than they did on the cave tours because you couldn't go through the cave in your dress. Okay, let's see what the next slide is. Okay, So the slide you just saw is of course the chateau is 6 stories and it's built in the canyon. You can see that there wasn't really a good place to put a building. Gus Liam, interestingly enough, was Sam Baker's brother-in-law. When you hear people that hire your brother-in-law, well, he happened to be a very talented brother-in-law, and he designed. Why don't you go back to the previous slide? He designed this amazing building that goes. It's 3 stories above the ground and 3 stories down in the canyon. And to this day, it is still quite stable. It's just amazing. 89 years later, it's really just an amazing, amazing facility. They are finding, however, now as we're working on it, that when you build a house, it would all line up top to bottom. Well, it doesn't. They built 1 floor and they built another floor and then they built another floor and then another floor, and things don't line up top to bottom, which was one little problem we found. But anyway, it's just pretty amazing that what it looked like. So go ahead to the next slide. Okay, this is the day it opened. And you can see how the cars are on the 3rd floor going up. Okay. Let's see. So now I'll talk a little about the restoration. Go to the next. Okay, this is what it looks like from the outside. Okay, let's stop there for a minute. Okay, some of the things the Friends are doing, just so you kind of get a feeling for the difference of what the park service is doing and what the Friends are doing. There were balconies up until 1955, and those were taken off because they had some kind of a snow load on them. They were built out of wood, and they were just quite unstable. Anybody sat on the balcony and had a glass of wine? No. Okay. Well, the Friends decided that the balconies had to come back. We wanted you to be able to sit in the lobby, at the dining level. We wanted you to be able to have dining out there. And then we also restored the cafeteria down on the 3rd floor, so that if you're there now, you could have a wedding or something a little more privately than in the lobby. And there'll be a balcony at that level as well. So you can see up at the top. Well, these are 2 pictures of showing how the balconies will be when they come back. So next slide. Okay. The interesting thing about the Oregon Caves is because it's so remote, there was very little done to it, which if you do restoration or remodeling, that's good. They didn't bring in a bunch of 50s and 60s and 70s changes to it. The lobby pretty much looks just as it did back then. I mean, it really hasn't changed. Next. Okay. Okay, then we'll stop there for a minute. So the things that the Friends are doing, again, we brought back the balconies. Then during the flood of 1964, you probably heard about that some, where the ice and snow came down the canyon and it came up to the edge of the chateau, and they said, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So they broke out the windows at the dining level in and out, and the ice and snow went down through the dining room, and it took all the dining room furniture with it. So we don't have any dining room chairs at all. So some of you may know Ron Fox. He's a Grants Pass caveman. He was one of my dearest friends. He served on the board forever and ever. And it was his idea that we make new dining room chairs. So we have a group of woodworkers in Ashland who actually reproduced, and you can see Ron there in the middle with his friends. And we have 60 dining room chairs that are in the Monterey style. You can sponsor one yourself if you want to have a little plaque on the back of it. It is $650. I mean, this furniture's expensive, but and then we're going to decorate them. At this point, I'll tell you a time you can come see them, but they are not decorated at this point. They're not painted. But so thanks to Ron, who of course passed away of a heart attack very suddenly several years ago. And I just can't think of every day I wish that Ron was still with us. He was just a wonderful board member. So next slide. Okay, so there's the original chairs and they're the duplicate chairs. Pretty cool, huh? I can't see much difference myself. Okay, next slide. Okay, the chateau itself was originally planned to go under what they called life, safety, and accessibility upgrade. And that we got about $18 million to do that work. And we started it in 2018 when the chateau closed. This just shows you some of the many people that have taken a good look at it and given their opinion. We did find clear for floors on the 3rd floor. We didn't find, that's the picture on the left. We found some interesting surprises as we've opened the lodge. Just before it closed, just to give you an example, I stayed there a lot because we were doing a variety of projects. We got to the point where if you plugged in your cell phone on the 3rd floor, it could turn the lights out in the whole building. Okay, so we did need this work done. Okay, I mean, it was really getting to the point, although people stayed there and they wouldn't have known sometimes unless they tried to do something like that. So the life safety and accessibility would have been wiring, plumbing, there would have been an elevator down to the restaurant, accessible rooms, the ones on the second floor. So that was all started in 2018. Okay. And we, the Friends, are responsible to restore the historic character. That means anything that isn't physical, it's like the lighting, the furniture, the wall surface, the drapes, the artwork, anything like that is the responsibility of the Friends. So the Park Service, then, once it got down to the studs, you can go to the next slide, I think. There you go. If you were to go there today, that's what it looks like. You can see clear through the building. There's no, there are no walls. And at some point, I don't want to forget to say about a field trip. Remind me if I forget to say that. Okay, I'll remember to say that. They found that there were cracks in the foundation and things that have probably been there since 1964. It probably isn't going to go anywhere, but Park Service, in their wisdom, don't want to put something on the top and have the foundation fail at some point. So the construction currently has been paused, is the way where I have talking points from the Park Service. The construction has been paused, I can tell you that. And they're looking for more money at the Park Service to do now it's seismic and foundation stabilization. So we have been pretty careful thinking Park Service was going to pay for the major part and the Friends were going to do the rest. Now we are in a bit of a dilemma, I'll say, as of yesterday. This is just fresh, you're getting the big news. We are going to have to do what I'm going to call kind of a full court press. We may need all of you to write a letter. I mean, we may need because the thing we don't want to have happen is we don't want this to move from being a priority with the Park Service. Right now it is a priority and we want to retain it that way. And we want to help them find the money. We're going to be very thoughtful and we're going to help the Congress find the money, right? Is that a thoughtful way to say, yikes, we need more money. We are fortunate that Chuck Sams, who is with the Grand Ronde Tribes, is the director of the Park Service. He's an Oregonian. Senator Wyden, Senator Merkley are all on our side. So I'm not sure what is going to happen. I mean, I'm seriously telling you that we have some big changes now. We thought that was all going to be covered by the Park Service, but the cost has increased with the foundation and the seismic work. We don't have a number yet of what that means, but we are working on what that is. So let's see what else I need to tell you. And so some of the other things we're doing, we restored the 8 exterior doors. Now for us to restore the doors, we had to prepare a document about this thick for Park Service to make sure we were using the right people, doing it all the right way. Now we have an ask into the legislature to do all the remaining 97 doors. Those are some of the responsibilities that we have, because otherwise they could go to Home Depot and just buy new doors. Well, we don't want that to be the case. So go to the next slide. Okay, there's the doors as we were working on them. We took them all out of the lodge and we just, I mean, they've got little wooden pegs and they're just beautifully, beautifully, beautifully done. And that's just an example of how we always want everything to be done. Next one. We also restored the lighting in the lobby and we are going to finish that. You can see on the middle slide there how it was cardboard. I mean, it could have caught the place on fire. We have redone them all into very carefully, if you know anything about electricity. And we'll finish, and we're also going to reproduce the little sconces. If you remember the beautiful, maybe I have one. Go to the next slide. Don't. Okay. The other thing that happened is when the current concession left, let me see, how am I gracefully say this? They didn't buy in. Usually a concession buys in and then they get to sell it when they leave. Well, those guys kind of got it. It was a local group, the IBCDO, we love them, but they thought they could sell the things that they didn't own as they were leaving. And so I had to go up there. And so the Friends own if you go in the dining room, we own the red stool. We own the counter. We own the front counter. We own the phone booth. We own probably everything that's historic that somebody might have wanted to purchase and remove it from the Oregon Caves. So we the Friends own those, plus all this, the furniture, the original furniture is owned by the Park Service, the 240 pieces. We do have all the pieces that we've had donated, but
just some of the stories. I mean, I could go on and on here. Okay, so next thing. Oh, you can do, yeah, if you want to, back to the red stools. You can join the Red Stool Club if you want to, if you love those red stools, and we're going to be restoring those. And she's tapping that it's time to finish, and I think I am done, in fact, except for, go to the next slide. I think we're done. Okay. Keep going, keep going. Okay, this is our goal, to have it look like this within, it's a big goal because you saw what it looks like now. It's down to studs. Okay, next. Okay, that should be it. Okay, two things. One, I need to give this away, so I'm not sure how to do it. We have to think that over. Number two is the Rotary Club I'm in on Wednesday has requested that we have a tour, that we have a field trip, that you all can, you don't have to pay something, because I have to get it all figured out, but then we might stop at the Deer Creek Winery for wine on the way back. How's that? So how many of you, if I did put a field trip together to go tour the lodge as it is right now, who would be interested in driving up there? Oh, good. Okay. Well, maybe we'll do a Rotary function, and we could end up at Deer Creek Winery for dinner and wine. How's that sound? Okay. All right. How do I do this? I usually compete on those questions. What are we going to do? Jenny? Oh, she had the first right question. Okay, there you go. Enjoy. Thank you. It was a pleasure, and it looks like I'm probably out of time unless there's a question. I'm good to go. Okay. All right. No questions. Okay. Thanks again for having me, and anytime. Thank you, Sue. All right, Kelly, do you want to come up and see if we have any happy bucks? And I think we can test this out. Bela has ingeniously jury-rigged a system where we think that the Zoom mic is picking up from the speaker. So we're going to test this and take the mic on the road and see if Zoom can still hear us.
All right, and so maybe they can let us know too online whether they can still hear us or not. I don't know about you, but the last time I went up to the Oregon Caves, I got so sick on the way up because my goodness, it was. And so anyway, I got over it and the caves were great. And anyway, you do all realize that Porch Fest is in 2 days. So it's a big deal. And I'm a little concerned because our chief is ill. So we have to have good thoughts that Doug is going to be up and running here in 2 days, because I don't want his job. And neither does Bev. And so I've got a couple happy bucks that are going to go in hopes that he's, yes, it's the good, the caregiving get well fund. Yes. Who else has bucks? Happy, sad, whatever, bucks.
Okay. Yeah, so I have 40 bucks today for 4 happy stuff. One, I was happy to send homeless shelter food for about 30 people last week. And yeah, well, half cooked and half ordered from Fred Myers. The second thing is the Fusion Dance Academy did a fantastic show here at the PAC, and 2 of my granddaughters were in the show, and many beautiful kids from the ages of 5 to 18. It was really a good show. The third thing is I got the art work from the Art of the Garden, and it was a fish that Doug created. And my last happy thing is a blue badge. But I have to thank Claudia for inviting or being my sponsor, Deb and Doug for guidance, Jenny Duell, maybe I'm not pronouncing that well. And last but not least is my wonderful, wonderful buddy, Dawn, who really guided me very, very well and made sure that I had all those ticks going every day. So yes, thank you.
All right. I have two happy bucks. One, thank you, Clive, for coming today. Whoops, there's three. Make up another one. Doug Walker did a presentation at Kiwanis on Tuesday about Porch Fest. He was really, really good. And I'm just tickled that Porch Fest is going to be here Saturday and we're all going to be there, right? Okay.
Yes, okay.
Stand up. I just wanted to say, thank Sue Densmore. I've been there once, and as a visitor, I really appreciated what she did. Thank you.
Okay, coming around to you, Kurt.
Okay, I have two happy bucks here. I was happy to be in Australia, see a lot of things down there, represent the club there at the international convention. I was also very happy to relax in Fiji for 3 or 4 days, but I was most happy when I got back to the USA. And this afternoon, I'm putting my fifth wheel on the river for the rest of the summer, so I'm really happy about that.
Okay. I got 3 happy bucks for intelligence, whether it's artificial or meat-based. All right, you're gonna put this here. We're gonna put them in one of these. Not sure how to go with that. Intelligence AI, are we talking?
Thanks, Kelly. I have a KODI 5 happy bucks. You should all start watching what we call Janie's Station for the big ad coming out for Applebee's, because Lutz and I, dressed in our Dodger garb, are guys' night out at Applebee's. So, yeah. You can contact our agent if you want any appearances or anything like that. Second 5 happy bucks is for Park and Bonnie. We haven't seen them for a while. Welcome back. And the third and final is for Clive. I'm really concerned that we've kind of intimidated you with our technology. So I hope you'll come back.
Okay.
Quick, 5 happy bucks for Zara, who really led me to lead her. She's amazing. And then a Chateau story that when my son was really young and we'd moved up from California, some friends came and my youngest son was just really young. They wanted to go up the Oregon Caves. And so we took all of the kids up there. Jake was not tall enough. So they kept him in the gift shop.
Held hostage.
I have happy bucks. Zara is a great new member. I'm really proud of her getting that done so quick. And my son Chris is here, and we're going to take him to the airport tomorrow, or I might be the only one taking him to the airport. But he's going to do a 2-month internship with Suzanne Bonamici, Congresswoman in Washington, D.C. So that's exciting.
Wow. Anybody else?
I have 20 happy bucks, one for Porch Fest, of course, for Zara, and my oldest grandson just graduated high school, been accepted to school in England, and he is jazzed and out the door, traveling with his friends, got his backpack. He's having a ball, so yeah.
Okay, who said yes? Oh, coming this way. I'm getting a workout here.
As a visitor, one more to Bev and Doug Walker. I'm a member of Kiwanis, and they gave an incredible presentation on Tuesday. I really appreciate that. It was well received by all the members. So hopefully, yeah, that's what put him under the weather. But hopefully that more of the clubs could work together on this too. Thank you very much to Doug and Bev.
I just want to, I'm going to give 20 happy bucks, and I want to honor and point out Patty Hansen and Jed Keller. If you don't know them, you know, I joined the fundraising committee for Porch Fest this year, and Patty and I met every week, and she's busy with family stuff, and you know how they volunteer all the time. We thus far have $35,000. Last year we had 20,000. And you know, in the fundraising world, if you can increase by 10%, you're doing great. And so, yeah, it's just been really a pleasure working with her. And I helped raise that money so I wouldn't have to work tomorrow. So we know on Saturday. So could you please get Doug to get better? Anyway, Patty's just a dream, and it's been fun working with her. And behind the scenes, you can't believe what she does, and the whole fundraising committee. So, yeah,
We are lucky. Okay. All right. And I'm going to put 20 happy bucks in because I just love our club. It is so nice to see everyone here, faces we haven't seen in a while. It's fun to see everything that we're doing in the club. I think, Bayla, you need to turn the camera around and show the few folks who are left on Zoom. This is how we made the sound work for you guys. We have a bucket on top of a ladder so that the microphone can reach the speaker. We finally figured out the sound. Only in Rotary. Yeah, Jay is laughing exactly. The crying laughing emoji is yeah, apropos. Next week, you guys all have to be on your very best behavior because my boss is coming to speak to us about Asante Three Rivers Medical Center. So Dr. Eric Lolliger, who is our Vice President of Operations and Medical Officer, and Jeff Kuhl, who is our Development Director from the Asante Foundation, will be here to give you guys an update on what's happening at the hospital. And thought of the day, today is Smile Power Day. Smile Power. So I have this quote for Mother Teresa for you. She said that every time you smile at someone, it is an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. So please share your smiles today, and we will see you all next week. Thank you.